One of the greatest joys in my life is that my husband is also a potter, and that means when I'm struggling with a pottery problem, sometimes we get to work through it together. And in this case, I was attempting to throw some matcha bowls, but I had never made any before, and my husband had. So I asked him to sit down and throw one on camera for me. Nick and I have drastically different throwing styles. Not only does he throw with his wheel going clockwise rather than counterclockwise, but he prefers a much looser finish to his pots than I do for mine. That doesn't mean I don't like Nick's pots. As a matter of fact, some of his pots are some of my favorites. I adore the looser aesthetic. It's just not typically one I make my own work in. So it's always a treat for me to get to watch Nick work. Many of the motions Nick makes while he's throwing feel very foreign to me. They're not things I do very often, if at all, and so it's very interesting to watch. I have to then think about what that would look like as I am throwing. And it was kind of fun because after this, I did sit down and throw some matcha bowls that look a lot more like Nick made them. It was kind of one of the fun things in college. We made it a goal to try to be able to make each other's pots, and I got much closer than Nick did. I can throw in Nick's style, even though I think mine still end up looking a tiny bit cleaner. I lack the ability to let the pot be whatever it is a little bit more than he does. Nick also often works on both sides of the clay in a way that I often tell my students not to do because it can feel hard to control. However, Nick is never not in control of what's going on. See, here he makes a pull on one side and then he goes over to make another pull on the other side. And while you can see the pot wobbling, that wobble is intentional. Nick is not trying to make a perfectly straight-sided pot. He's trying to make a pot that dances just a little bit on the wheel. The little unevenness, the little difference in thickness and thinness over the edge and surface of the pot isn't something that's happening accidentally. I've seen Nick throw perfectly even, perfectly straight cylinders. So this moving back and forth on the sides of the pot is a way that he controls the looseness of his throwing, and I think that's really interesting. A little bit later, you'll see Nick purposefully kind of wobble his fingers as he's making a pull to give the pot even more movement, which lends the pot this lovely dancing effect, and I just adore it. The other really lovely thing about both of us being potters is that we get to collaborate on pots whenever we'd like, and since Nick is one of my favorite people to collaborate making with because our styles are so different, I'm so excited to get to finish this matcha bowl by trimming it and probably decorating and glazing it as well, and I'm so excited to see how this latest collaboration turns out.